much for joining us. It's almost like being at High Point, isn't it? All together here on the screen with some of my favorite women that I would normally see. I'm very excited to be hosting this panel, co-hosting this panel actually with my colleague Thomas Lester from Home Accents Today. He is the digital and managing editor there. And Thomas and I love to collaborate. And we were both very curious about what happens when you work so hard on bringing out a collection to market and then there's no real market. And so that's what brought us together today, why we've gathered these 4 incredible designers here to talk about what the experience has been like and where the experience is going. So as we all know from the last couple of weeks, anything can happen, right? So we're gonna have this amazing panel and get to know you all on what was in store and what you're doing about it. So Thomas, will you please introduce our panelists?
I would be happy to. And if you would, just in a sentence or two after I introduce you, just tell the gathering a little bit about the products that you were scheduled to introduce at the market, who you were partnering with, and things like that. And so we will start, we'll just start from where I can see in the upper left corner. We have Sasha Bikoff. Sasha, hi, welcome.
So, hi everyone. This High Point, I was supposed to be launching a lighting collection with Curry and Company and also a chest with Kindle. So I was obviously disappointed that we couldn't launch anything, but the world is going through far worse things going on. So, it happens, such is life.
Next, we have Libby Langdon. Libby, welcome, and tell us a little bit about what you would have had going on.
Thank you. So yeah, I would have had a new accessory collection with A&B Home, new lighting with Christorama, new upholstery with Fairfield, and new artwork with Paragon. And yeah, the newest collection would have been A&B Home. The other new introductions for Fairfield, Paragon, and Christorama would have been line extensions. So it's kind of different, something that's completely new, brand new, kind of like what Sasha was going to be doing versus lines that are already established. So, but yeah, it was tricky. And I think at a certain point, the writing was on the wall and it didn't even seem like it was going to be, if market was still going to happen, it wasn't going to be with the same fullness and ferociousness that we usually have in a market. So it was disappointing, but just sort of made me think, all right, we're going to have to pivot and come up with another game plan. And here we are.
All right, thanks, Libby. And then next we have Shayla Copas. Shayla, I remember about 6 weeks or so ago, Jane and I had you on for a podcast, and we talked about all your introductions. But if you would just tell the audience a little bit about what you would have had happening.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
Mute. Okay, sorry about that. I'm the new kid on the block with Chelsea House. I had about 140 items that we're releasing for Chelsea House. And we had a fabric line as well that was going to be exposed to market, but not exactly releasing with Polywood. So yeah, it started out with a lot of fear, and that fear was quickly replaced with some great ideas to counter the pushback and with hope. So we are now just pushing forward, and we know we're going to have a great release in the fall.
Wonderful. And then finally, we have Stacy Garcia. Stacy is a longtime designer, has gotten into product design for the home space. And Stacy, so tell us a little bit about your introductions that would have been taking place this week.
Yeah, I know. I've been feeling, a little lonely for all of my design tribe. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me to partake in this. It is really, really a treat to see your faces, and hopefully the people who are streaming in feel the same way, that it's a little flavor. It's not quite like the entire smorgasbord of what being at market is about. But I think for me, the most important thing is the relationships that we have as a community, seeing everybody's faces and really just being part of something bigger than each of ourselves individually. So what we had planned for market was a brand new furniture collection. So we'd sort of teased the market last year with our collaboration with Klausner and Comfort Design as first their brand ambassador, but also as a design collaborator with them. So we were hired to work with them on their Comfort Design, which is their Benchmade product. It's their higher end product, and that's all upholstered furniture and some motion furniture. And then we also have a collection that's going to launch for Klausner Outdoor. So a full outdoor furniture collection, from the dining to lounging and upholstered seating as well, using some of this umbrella fabrics and things like that. So we had that lined up, and then a second launch for IMAX, which is our partner for accessories. So we were going to be adding to our grouping with them. We currently have one grouping underway, and then we were going to roll out a second collection as a complement to the furniture that we had. And so it was a bummer because obviously, like all of you, we've been working so hard behind the scenes with our partners, planning a really exciting launch. And it was really, for us, it was our first to market in the residential market with fully upholstered pieces and outdoor product. And we also debated the right thing to do, sort of how to handle it. Klausner does a really great job in their partnerships and in their collaboration, marketing, advertising, all of it. And so we made the decision fairly early on that it was better not to do a diluted launch, and that it would be better to sort of save the big excitement for a full market. And so we sort of knew once they sort of delayed it, that we were going to push pause, section off that side of the showroom and just hold till October market, because it's too important of a launch. We've all invested a lot of time and energy and money and effort into really putting together an exciting collection that it's more than a onesie twosie. It's really a multi-layered concept, really more of a lifestyle launch. And so we decided together that it was best to hold it. So we're all praying, as I'm sure you are, that October happens, because if not, it'll be a year off.
Yeah. Well, some of you have already answered what was going to be my first question, but before I go there, I just want to say that you're all represented in the April issue. If you haven't gotten yours, everybody on this screen is inside here. So just wanted to say that. But you've all expressed, a little bit about how you were feeling when you first heard, but it was like this limbo state, at the beginning. And there's the ego, and then there's the greater good, sort of. So did it must have been terribly disappointing at first, but then you made that switch to everybody's experiencing this. Did any of you discover, was it tough coming to terms with that? And kind of when one thing goes out of whack, everything else sort of starts to spin a little bit? Libby?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was interesting the way it happened. I was actually down in North Carolina. I was at Fairfield, and it was the day before they announced that the market was going to be postponed. And so I think Dixon and everybody at Fairfield, they knew it wasn't going to happen. And so it was just a matter of, instead of spending all day going over product development and all of that, and it was really sitting in a conference room and just saying, how can we get creative, and how can we come up with a way to still raise awareness of the collection that we just launched, what's coming new, and how do we really think outside the box with that? And so, you know, I think I had a moment of like, oh no, but then you have a moment of, all right, let's do this. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's come up with some new ways to really get it out there. And I think the thing that was comforting was you knew everybody was going to be in the same boat. It wasn't just us. And so in that respect, I think it was fun to kind of come up with some creative ideas using video, using photography, using like voice memos on my iPhone, you know, putting together things that we could get out and still have people see the collection, and not necessarily the new pieces, but the pieces that had been introduced in October. So it was just about getting creative and just trying to come up with the best ways to get eyes on stuff. But we did decide to hold A&B, Christorama, and Paragon is out. But yeah, so it was disappointing, but I think we had to figure something out.
And you were all together, you know, which was kind of nice.
It felt great. That probably felt so much better than me in my bubble in my office in New York City and just wondering, you know, oh, what are we going to do?
And Sasha, for you, this was your, you know, you had your sort of coming out in High Point debut in October when you did the install, but this was like your big introduction, your first, you know, your second time in High Point. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you seem pretty like, what was it like for you?
Well, I think that obviously the first feeling was disappointment because I started working on this collection with Curry a year ago, and I really was so excited for that High Point energy and to like have this breakout collection. And I had so much fun the first year there that I was just like counting down the days. But, you know, I think that, you know, you think about what's going on a more like global view of things and how, you know, there's far worse things happening in the world. And you kind of just, you know, it's like, you kind of like rely on social media and the internet to kind of guide you through this. And I think that people are so, you know, kind of like bored and uninspired at this time that they're really like putting all their focus on Instagram and, you know, and on the internet, and people are probably like reading stories online more. So I think that we've tried to really like get excitement through those channels, but not too much where you don't want to take away that surprise for next market. You know what I mean?
Right. Still.
Like there's always, there was that struggle with me. Well, do we just like hold everything off until next market? Like what's the point of putting everything on social media if no one can really see these things in real life and see them installed? But like the show must go on in a sense. And I think that this is just new territory for us, and we're trying to figure out how to navigate through this. And I actually think that there's like larger issues here in terms of like this industry, apart from like not being able to launch your items. Like I hope that this epidemic is going to get people to want to invest in their homes more and to want to, you know, make their homes a beautiful, more cheerful, happier place. So I hope that all of our products sell at this time as well. So that's also a concern of mine. But yeah, I think that I hope that High Point in the fall happens. And I think that, you know, we're going to all come back stronger than ever because we're like so cooped up in our homes right now. So I think that in a sense, it's going to make all of our launches that much greater.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Now,
amen to that, Sasha.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
I like went from being Debbie Downer to being positive, like on this Zoom call.
Well, the power of being with people, you know, I mean, that's people lift you up. I have to say, Shayla was like, I am coming up. I am installing my collection. You know, we were going to have a sleepover, and right up to the minute of like, why are you going to do this? So you were like, I'm You were funny.
Yeah, I was pushing forward. When it first happened, like I said, I had a lot of fear, and then I started, hoping things would turn out better and that we could move forward. And then I started planning, and we took lemonades and we made lemonade out of it. And I feel like Pam Kane, the marketing director for Chelsea House, has done a great job with developing the website, and I think they're developing a new website. She's putting out a catalog as we speak right now. She's sending out to all their clients. And then they, have really put together some stellar marketing materials that they might not have had the time to put together before. So I think it's a good time for the brands to regroup, but looking beyond business and beyond the brands, I think it was a good time personally for me to prioritize and, put my husband first, my children first, and go, okay, so this is where I'm at, and this is what it's going to look like for the future, and this is where I should have been. I mean, it kind of made me realize just exactly how far out of the box I had gotten and where I really needed to be. And the fear was also quickly replaced with wanting to make sure that everybody was going to be okay. Our team, and trying to figure out where they were going to work from. And, because you definitely want everyone to be safe.
Yep.
So yeah, that's really what happened from that. And then we also talked about June. Are we really going to be there in June? And I really didn't think we would. I mean, it just didn't, I didn't feel it in my soul, guys.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I totally. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like relieved when they finally, made the announcement.
Yes. It was a big sense of relief, because I felt like, okay, we're going to have a real market for this introduction. It's not going to be just kind of half market.
Right.
And we're all going to be there to celebrate, because I just didn't feel we would get the designers there in June.
For the retailers, quite frankly. I mean, so many brick and mortars are closed still. What are they? I hate to say it like that, but if you're just looking today in a short term, most of them are not bringing in new inventories. They're trying to keep their heads above water.
Exactly.
So it was not. I think that it was the appropriate response was to cancel the market and just wait it out until everybody's on more solid footing.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Thomas?
Yes. Well, some of you have touched on this already, but, feel free to elaborate. What were some of the conversations like with your design, with the companies that you were designing for, when, it became apparent that this market wasn't going to happen in the way that it was originally intended? What were those conversations like? What alternate plans did you have? And what was the process moving forward? And
I'll jump in on this one. I think I'm with Shayla, where we're trying to take it as an opportunity. So the original conversations, the first few weeks out, probably first 2 or 3 weeks out, I think everybody was just in triage mode, really just trying to establish, like everybody else was saying, how are our teams working? Who of our partners are going to, what's their factory schedules like? Are they producing? Are they shipping? Who's in their teams, in the office? Who's going to be working remote? And just really trying to prioritize the new order of business. So I almost felt like the first 3 weeks or so, it was just really trying to assess the situation, stop the bleeding, so to speak, and just make sure the patient was okay. And then once everyone got situated and figured out, how to be remote and what apps we needed to use and how often our cadence needed to be, and decisions started to get made, I think it's that limbo state that makes it really difficult. So I think once those decisions started to be made, like market was first, kind of pseudo postponed, that's when we started making group decisions to say, all right, good. They caught up with the rest of, what's happening. We can now make our plans appropriately. And very much, like Shayla's teams were doing, to say, this is a great opportunity, because a lot of times, as you know, when you're in product development, you're like 90% it's product. And then with a lot of these companies too, they sort of use market as a test, right? Depending on what retailers are purchasing is then what they put a big thrust behind in terms of support materials. So we had that, and then the promos that we were going to do. So same thing, I was scheduled to go down to be filming commercials and things like that for them up until the last minute, that finally they were like, all right, you know, Fox News just shut their doors. They're not letting guests come in to film, that kind of thing. So we were trying our best to be optimistic, but once High Point made the announcements, we were sort of looking and saying, okay, how do we take this as an opportunity? You know, it's not fun, but we've dusted off, we've made our assessments, and really looking to take the opportunity to do a deeper dive into the marketing materials, really tie a bow around things, do photography, maybe, you know, lifestyle photography that we probably would not have had time to do if we were just going at the normal speed of product launch. So that's really how we're doing, trying to stay positive and looking to say, all right, now that we have this extra time on our hands, what do we get to do with it?
All right, well, Shayla, how about the conversations with the Chelsea House team? What was that like when, you know, things started to come into focus as they were?
Well, it's interesting, Thomas. We were actually getting ready to send out our, we were putting together our promo gifts that we were sending out, and one of mine is perishable. So we were trying to figure out, it goes in the freezer and it can only last, you know, a couple weeks or so, and then it's no longer able to be used. And so we were trying to figure out, you know, do we send it? Do we not send it? What do we do? And finally, I just said, let's just hold off. People don't even want packages right now anyway. They don't want to get to me. Let's just hold off. We can always regroup here, and let's figure out what I can do on my end for marketing. And I actually had a couple trips that I still had to go on because I had some installations that I had to do that were time sensitive. So I reached out to Pam and I said, there are a couple of your vendors that are probably still open, and I'll be happy to, with keeping my distance, bring in some product to them, because Chelsea House had shipped me some product for some photos that we were doing to send to Jane for the latest issue. And so I took the trays with me and they were well received. So that was one way that I was able to kind of do something different than we normally wouldn't be able to do, because none of the reps even had the product at this point, but we were able to show it the different locations that I was in. Of course, right now we're not doing that, but this was in the beginning, kind of the onset stage. And then Pam really looked at alternative ways of marketing, and she talked to me about producing, they were doing a video for the showroom. She and Bill were working on a video, a virtual tour of the showroom that you can find online on their website. But then she talked to me about developing my own video for the product, and we did that. So myself and my daughter Chelsea put that together and produced it. So these were all things, like Stacy said, we wouldn't have had time to address without the, you know, time we've got now. So we were able to, I think, get more prepared for the launch. And in the fall, we will be prepared for the launch. And I feel like we will have all done our homework on marketing and have put our best foot forward.
All right. Well, Sasha, how about the Curry team? You know, how were those conversations?
Everyone at Curry was super calm and, you know, just very cool, calm and collected, which made me feel better. I think that this is such an interesting time, because I think that our industry has kind of like, hasn't really, you know, merged into like this technology online kind of website phase. And I was really happy that, because Curry has an amazing website that's really user friendly. So I was like, okay, you know, all the product shots looked so good that you're really going to be able to feel and see the collection online perfectly. And I'm lucky because my collection's very photogenic. It's colorful and happy. So you know, I think that as long as you have these goods photographed, and as long as, you know, you have a really user-friendly website, you know, you're in a good state. And I felt comfortable and secure with Curry because they have all of that and they did all that for me. And they also created really cute graphics for my collection, which I was able to use on my Instagram to really kind of, bring the collection to life. And, I think that, like I said, the show still must go on. It's just a little bit of a digital show, but yeah, I think that so far so good. I mean, obviously this is lighting and this is furniture, so it's super tactile and it's different from seeing everything in person. But for me as a designer, regardless of COVID-19, I do so much of my shopping online. And a lot of these websites are not user friendly, so I'm grateful to work with a company that is making everything so clear, especially in these times.
All right, well, Libby, I guess you had quite a few conversations with all of your design partners as this kind of came into focus. What were some of the conversations like, and did you have a few plan Bs in place, or?
Yeah, I think we did. And, one of the best things is that, like for instance, for my artwork for Paragon, that's all made in Alabama. So they were still able to finish the pieces. Everything was ready to go, and they went ahead and loaded it up on the website. So that is available now. And I've been able to take some of the photography that they've done and do some voiceovers so we can create some kind of dynamic, simple little videos, kind of what Sasha is saying, use it to sort of float it out there on social media. And A&B, because so much of it was imported, they were having trouble getting things delivered from overseas. So it could have been a little bit of a blessing in disguise, because I think we wouldn't have had the full assortment of SKUs for the product. So that's my kind of positive Pollyanna, like it worked out, And then for Fairfield, it was hard because I wanted people who had seen the product in October. It was really going to be available during the April market, because some of the case goods in those pieces were going to be 6 months out to be available. So, putting things in place to do a series of e-blasts, do some videos, kind of what Shayla was saying, and to still create excitement about the product, but just know we had to do it in a different way. So, but it's been great, and everybody's been really positive. And I think also to kind of echo a little bit what Sasha was saying is that, yeah, the world is upside down, people. So, all of us are having to just figure out new ways to do things. And I think we all do have captive audiences too. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still working like a full day because my regular design jobs, we're used to doing projects all over the country remotely. So that's still happening. And so I think that's also good news for us who are on the other side in product development, knowing that designers are still out there. We're going on websites, we're sourcing new product, we're wanting to see what was there. And so we're still all working and sourcing products. So that's the good news for all of us, I think, is that so many designers are still super, super busy.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I wrote down something, not exactly in the script, but yes, I want to find out about now that that energy isn't, you're not here, and putting your energy into that, your design, like, have you, is that where you're focused on? And Stacy, I want to know from you too, because you do more hospitality, what's happening in your space right now? Because it's probably a little different.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm going to apologize. I muted myself because landscapers came. So this is, I feel less embarrassed about the children running up the stairs. Like on a normal, when you're trying to do your work from home and that stuff happens, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, because everyone else is in an office. But today it's like, just welcome to the chaos, everyone. Yeah,
slice of life.
I was so happy. I tapped out. My husband was like, all right, I'll do this math tutoring today for our 9-year-old. And I was like, oh, thank God, because it's not my strong subject anyway. But So again, I'll apologize if you hear the background noise. The hospitality industry was really hard hit. I mean, in general, you see it in the restaurant world and the cruise ship industry and hotels being at like 20% occupancy. It's kind of insane. This didn't happen even during, the 2008 Great Recession. So that's definitely been just from a human heart perspective, these are not just hotels. These are the people who run these places. Like this is from the CEOs down to the housekeepers. These are human beings who rely on these organizations as their livelihood. So I think for me, it's almost been more humbling and just concerning for the amount of people that this is having an impact on.
Mhm.
From our business in terms of servicing that industry, it's been interesting. Of course, there's been a lot of cancellations, just like there has been, in the retail sector. But there's also, I think, a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, we are seeing new constructions are still powering through. So, they're funded. It is different than 2008 because there is money. And I know, from the people we speak to on the development side, on the ownership side, I have, close relationships with people on brand level at the Marriotts and such. It's not if, it's just when. I think that the industry in general is sort of going, it's not if it's going to pick up, it's not if we're going to travel again, it's just when. And it impacts really every aspect of our life. I mean, people are the consumers who travel to hotels. Like we are all in that range. So we can all put ourselves in that position of, okay, what is it going to take for us to feel comfortable starting to go about our business again? So it's been an interesting shift. And then the opportunity for us, in High Point a couple of years ago of just launching into the retail and residential space, for me it's really been a gift. It's been the opportunity to think about how hospitality and our homes really do overlap. And I think this kind of pause button on everybody's life, as many of you had said, has made me reassess, has made so many of us reassess our priorities, what's important, and even things that we didn't know because we were so busy running, right? I mean, that was like the canned answer whenever you'd catch up with a friend at market or whatever, like, how you doing? What's going on? Oh, I'm so busy, right? Like everybody's so busy. We all busy disease. So this has forced us to kind of push pause, and even if we're working and there's opportunity and, blessedly, like our sampling is up. So the markers in the other industries are still more positive than negative. Like our sampling activity is up, our quoting activity is up. There are going to be hotels that are renovating. We will travel again. It may look different. There may be, I don't know, stickers when you go to check in. You may be checking in on kiosks in the future instead of, to a receptionist. So these are all conversations that are happening at brand level right now.
Right.
But what's been interesting on the home front is I look at, like, my brother is a PhD in anthropology. Like the last thing on his list is what his house looks like. It's so like not on his radar. But he and I have been talking because he runs a small business as well. And he goes, you know what I've been doing? Like I've been shopping on Wayfair. I'm like, really? And not to make this like an online commercial, but my gosh, their sales are up, or at last click, we're up like 45%. Like they're probably finally turning a profit. So, to Libby's point too, and Sasha's, when there are good websites, when you have access to be able to see the product. And I know Klausner also, they've got great features on their websites. They skin them based on locale. So if you're in Denver, you see a mountain scene. If you're in New York City, you'll see an urban scene. It makes the consumer really be able to visualize the product. But he said, wow, like we've been shopping. Like I've never been home long enough to realize I hated the pillows on my sofa and that I didn't have art over my couch, and it's like, all right, like here's a guy who could care less, who's spending money on home furnishings. So I think that is something as an industry, from a retail perspective, that online is key. I mean, we knew it anyway, but this just hammers it home.
Totally. Sasha, what about you and your design projects?
So my design projects, like I had a couple restaurants in the works, in New York and in Miami. I had a few residential jobs in New York. They're all basically paused at the moment. No one wants, wallpaper installers and flooring guys and plumbers in their homes right now. And obviously, the restaurant, business has really taken a hit. So, it was kind of like a bummer. I mean, I do have like some projects that I'm still buying things for and sourcing things, although we like are holding off on deliveries because, again, no one wants delivery, people and installers in their homes right now. But at the end of the day, for me, I really, my creativity comes from those moments where I'm able to have a repose and where I'm able to kind of be in nature. So I'm taking this time to sketch and draw more furniture, more lighting. I don't know what's going to happen with them, but at least I'll have them. So if, if a partner comes along and wants to produce them, I have all this stuff that I'm kind of dreaming up during Corona. And I'm writing a book right now. I've been cooking a lot and coming up with new recipes. And I've been cooking all of my mom's Persian recipes, which are really, really difficult. So I'm kind of taking this time to explore my other creative and artistic channels in order to come back stronger when we all open up. And I think that all of us are, in a way, artists, and we're all creatives. And if we just keep going and we don't stop, then our work does not become as exciting as it could be. And I always want, my projects to have a certain energy to them. So I think that, a lot, like, I'm trying to really take this moment for myself and for my own creativity. And I, it's hard because I kind of define myself by my career and by my work and all these, and I love to shop all day and I love to install things and have things come to life, but it will happen. And I'm just, being patient and, cooking.
Yeah. Shayla,
Yes.
how's the interior design business?
It's great. So our business is actually, we were doing well before, but we've brought in more jobs since Corona. So when it first happened, I thought, okay, I'm going to pause, like y'all are saying. And I thought this was a good time for reflection, a good time for growth, good time for creative. We started working on new products, a lot of product design, cooking, Sasha, a lot of cooking. And things were going forward in that way. And also website development, because I thought, Stacy, just like you were saying with e-commerce, I felt like it was going to really move forward. And so we started working on an e-commerce platform with our website company. Well, all this to say, a week and a half in, I get calls and we're starting new projects. So, we've just figured out how to juggle all of it right now, because my husband's not going to give up those meals. So I'm still cooking and working on the website design and working on the projects and the product development side of it, because I just turned in my fall line Friday, actually. So as we still haven't released spring, we turned in fall and we're like, okay, we're moving forward with just as many products.
Thomas?
Yes. So I guess following up on that, Shayla, does that mean you're going to have a supersized launch then in October? And just everybody, what's the new timeline looking like?
Well, they're not exactly sure how many products they're going to take out of our fall package that we sent in. They may choose to keep them, a few of them for spring, but they wanted them so that they could make that decision after they regroup and see how things go. So it looks like we'll have a partial launch of fall, and then our full spring will be in the fall, is what it's looking like they're going to do.
And anybody who's tuned into Instagram knows Libby's been cooking up a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just shifting gears, then what does your timeline look like for resuming where you left off, and what's your launch schedule looking like?
Oh, for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yes, we will jump in October full force with new product for Fairfield. And then that will be when A&B Home, that'll be full product and ready to go. And Christorama, new extensions, and same with Paragon. So yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat where Shayla is, you know, we're still moving forward with projects. Obviously, we have 4 that we're waiting to install, and 3 of which are in New York City. So who knows when that will actually happen. But definitely working on new product. But I'm kind of in the same boat as seeing it's a way to update my style guides. It's a way to update the website, you know, incorporate new photography, create new collateral material, and stupid things too, like how many passwords do we all have on like Design Manager or whatever? It drives me nuts. So, you know, my staff is going through and updating stuff like that. And so just trying to take some of the business things that could drive you crazy because you are so busy and you're in the little hamster wheel and you keep going and going and going. So to have some of those things set up feels just as good as, like, you know, cleaning out our pantry and our garage and my closet. So it's kind of it's a deep dive all the way around, and it feels really good.
And so Stacy and Sasha, I know you both indicated that your launches have been pushed back to the fall. So, you know, just shifting gears with the two of you, I know you both travel quite a bit. So this has got to be, you know, just hard, you know, not being able to go out and travel. So is this going to change how you do that? And, you know, where do you see going to first?
Yeah, the traveling thing's been really hard on me, but so has just not been able to see my friends or go out for a drink or, you know, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I think that, again, you know, we have to look at the world kind of like in a new place, right? We're in like this new place in this alternate universe, and we have to just kind of, you know, realize that we're almost in this like just technology kind of place right now. That, I mean, I'm, you know, I'm video chatting with people in France, with people in Italy. You know, I canceled all my travel plans for the fall. I was going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, canceled that. I am just, you know, I'm just going to take it day by day and try not to focus on what we can't do, but what we can do. And I think that this is, like I said, I mean, I think for me, I would prefer to like get back onto my jobs and install things right now before I travel anywhere. But yeah, it's just like one of those things, one of those freedoms that we've lost. But I think that if you can escape or do anything in nature, whether it's like on a beach or in the woods or take a hike, I think that at this time it's really important just to like breathe fresh air and to get inspired by, you know, being outside. And that's kind of what's keeping me going at this point.
Yeah, I'll echo that. I mean, it's definitely been challenging. Travel is not only so much a part of my life and the cadence of sort of how I accomplish my work, but also how I lean into travel as a source of inspiration for all of the design work that we do, whether it's for the hospitality industry or the residential industry. I'm so inspired by seeing new places and going overseas and meeting people and understanding their culture. I mean, I'm just sort of an innately curious person, and I love people and I love learning about different things. So I think for me, that feeds my soul, and I'm missing that part of the way that you connect with the world and the place around you through travel. Mm-hmm. But as Sasha said, I mean, there's, even doing this, even though we're not in person face to face, I think connecting with people. I mean, I've had reunions with old college sorority sisters and my old camp friends who I've known since I was 9, doing sort of these Zoom catch-ups. And it's not the same as doing a girls' retreat at a lake house, like by any stretch of the imagination, but it's important to do what we can to connect with people. I have 4 children and a husband and a dog. So I'm fortunate that I'm not alone in my home. I know, there are plenty of people right now who in the quarantine are feeling more lonely, that, and I'm seeing it, that sort of longing for human touch. And so my heart does go out to those people. And otherwise, right now, it's more like dreaming of when we get to do it again, like, saying, okay, it might not be Morocco, but maybe we'll be fortunate to rent an RV, wipe it down with Clorox and hit the road far away from other campers. I don't know.
I think what's really helping me during this time is I'm watching a lot of films and TV series that have amazing set designs and just amazing interiors. I love period films and like shows like Belgravia and Emma, and just like watching those types of TV shows kind of take me back to another era and also take me to another place. So that's kind of helping me a lot. And I'm like taking pictures on my phone of the TV screen and just getting inspired also that way.
Question. So some people have written in a few things, and I was thinking the same thing. So we're all kind of jumping from April to October, for those big launches, but we haven't really mentioned the summer markets, where normally what you'd have introduced here would have been, making your appearances at the summer markets. Are you, do you think the summer markets are going to happen? Have you, and then will you just, your collections won't be there? They'll be in October, even if the
Yeah,
market.
I have to say, I don't think the summer markets are going to happen. I don't. And I think it's almost important for everybody right now to not dilute your resources and your ability to travel and cost of market and costs for buyers to travel to go to market. And I think it's hard too for the manufacturers and all of our partners, because it is such an investment on their part to do a market and to set up a showroom and do the parties and have the alcohol and the food and fly all the reps and house all the reps. And so I think it would dilute the market. And I think for a lot of people, why are they going to want to do it and just have 25% of the people there or 40% of the people there? And I think it also just depends on where you are in the world. Like Las Vegas or Dallas are going to be very different, I think, in July and August than New York City will be. So I think it's just, I wouldn't see doing it in any summer markets, and I would see holding everything to like kind of go all in October and really have a strong market and a better shot where we are all together. So that would just be what I would see probably happening with my partners.
Yeah, I wonder what market will look like in October.
I know. Designer face masks.
If it will happen, like, again, we have to take things day by day, because a lot of people think that it's going to come back in full force in the fall. So, who knows?
Yeah.
At least we have the internet right now, right?
Yes.
So
how the built environment, how the hospitality areas are going to accommodate this, and how long will it last?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of different solutions, but it's incredible what is forecasted.
Just so much we don't know at this point. So
yeah, I mean, on the bright side, you do see some states starting to open restrictions, almost put themselves in position to be guinea pigs,
Right.
Whether or not you agree with it, it's the decision that's been made, and it'll be interesting because if it goes well, it will set the tone for the rest of the country to begin to open up. So I think that's something positive that's happening, and hopefully, people are smart about it. And again, I mean, we're speaking to clients in Georgia where they are starting to reopen hair salons and nail salons and public places, and they're still recommending social distancing, and it's not like all in and everyone just come have a giant party. I wish it was, but they're being smart, I think, and responsible about it.
Right.
It is a really interesting test to see what happens. If it goes well, I think we will have a good shot at market in October.
Yeah.
Real life case study right there. So
yeah. I mean, look, you have countries like Sweden that are kind of like, we're going to go plow forward. Like,
Yep.
and you know what? Nobody gets out a get out of death free card in this human body. Like, we know at some point we're all going. We just don't like to look at that. It doesn't feel good, but that's the reality. And I think they're just sort of saying, look, people are going to die. It's going to be sad, but we're gonna live. We're gonna be out, and we're actually gonna live our lives, because we're sort of right now, semi-living, like we're virtually living right now. And so there's a price to pay for that as well. But I'm hopeful. I mean, there's so many great minds that are working on vaccines and solutions and cures, and the numbers continue to go down. And I think people are being very responsible on the whole, to not overwhelm the healthcare system. So I'm hopeful about October. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I think that this whole experience has just made me realize how connected everybody is at so many different points. I mean, the whole supply chain and just that's really become apparent to me. So, yeah. So let's see. I did have a sort of frivolous question, because I look at you all and I'm like, I was kind of relieved that I didn't have to plan my wardrobe for market, because that's important to me. I love to plan out my outfits, and I love going thrift shopping and consignment shopping and mixing it with some new things. So can we just talk about fashion for a moment? And Sasha, I know you like to, you're a good planner.
I like to match my interiors.
Yeah. So did you have had you already made a purchase, an investment?
Yeah, I was definitely like thinking about how I was going to match my lighting collection. Last market every day came in with full looks that match the interiors. So I had to obviously step it up this year. But I will be wearing those at next market, and maybe I will have some new looks too. So I was, I had a lot of kind of pink and coral things picked out. I had some white things picked out. So some, Courage and Pierre Cardin looks, because, there's a little bit of a space agey thing in my collection. I had some floral outfits. And, right now I'm in cozy sweaters, so I cannot wait to be glam again. But I am just embracing my au naturel right now. And, hopefully in October, I will come out with full hair and makeup, and we'll be back in my heels at High Point all day. And it will be great, so just looking forward for that day.
I hear you. Stacy, one of the first times I saw you, it was at a Showtime market, and I was like, I didn't know you then, but I was like, who's that woman? She is just the coolest. You were just colors, and your hair was cool, and
she's glamorous right now.
I know.
And so is her bedroom.
Glamorous about 10 minutes
her bedroom.
Call. So I'll be honest with you. So thank you. As probably most of you on this Zoom call know, I embrace kind of the idea of costume in, having a reason to dress up, and I don't need much of a reason to do it. So I have a fabulous collection of wigs. This is one of them. This is like a crowd favorite. So since you were promoting the headshot with this one, this is the one I chose to wear today.
That's
and
amazing.
I love
it.
So for those of you who are watching this Zooming live, or who kind of see it later, if you didn't know, I'm very open about it. Anytime somebody compliments my hair, I'm like, thanks, do you want to try it on? Like, it's totally a wig. So, and what I've been doing, interestingly, is I'm with you. I mean, I literally did not have hair and makeup on until 10 minutes before this. My team has never seen me truly au naturel, really, until COVID. So it's been an interesting opportunity for me to say, you know what, like, I'm very open and honest about the fact that this is dress up. Like she doesn't wake up looking like Farrah Fawcett, but I've taken the opportunity to just really show kind of normally what my poor husband gets to wake up to. So our team like Zooms every morning, 9:15, we have a standing kickoff like huddle. And you know what? I was like, ladies and gentlemen, like not to say I've given up. I don't have the energy. Like, this is me. You've worked for me for however many years. Now you get to see the real boss, and I'll put on the costume when I'm like forward facing, but this is going to be my back of house look. Like, this is my dress rehearsal look, and they all get to see the real Stacy. And what's been interesting from it is I've started to just go a little more real on Instagram too, where like on social media, you know, so much of it is like, it's airbrushed and it's, you know, it's pretty and it's what I would put out under normal circumstances. And again, it's not that I hide it, but it's been an interesting opportunity to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and just be real on a lot of the social media and kind of say, look, the people who are watching are real people too. It doesn't always have to be in costume. I'm so open about it anyway. And maybe this gives people kind of the courage to be their real self also. So did I have my outfits planned? Not yet. I do travel so often that I usually I'll wait until 2 weeks before, unless I find something so fabulous. And then I'll kind of just power move into whatever it's going to be. I was lucky. I had sort of planned the outfits that I was going to wear to film the commercials and stuff like that are still hanging in my closet unworn.
What I love with Shayla and Libby, it's like the short dresses and the long skirts, you know. So were there new short dresses, Libby?
There were new short dresses. There were new short dresses for sure. A few statement necklaces. Yeah.
That's your look.
That's
You're simple.
I know.
The necklace and boots.
Yeah.
I saw the post that you did of a throwback. So congratulations on the 1-year anniversary.
Thank you.
Yes. And the first shot, I don't know if you all follow Libby or are friends with her on social media, but the first shot was just the upper. It was like this beautiful blue lace dress that she had worn. It was one of your children's
Yes,
weddings.
my stepdaughter's wedding. Yeah.
Okay. And she looked just so gorgeous and so classy. And in my mind, I was like, I wonder if it's long. Like it's always like Libby's legs. And then I swiped and it was like, oh, of course it's a short dress. Like the lady knows how to rock it. So.
You know,
Yeah.
I know, but I'm missing fashion, but I am still kind of getting dressed. I'll still wear slippers, but yeah, I feel better throughout the day if I'm kind of dressed and pulled together. Yeah.
Well, I
Shayla?
agree on the natural, being all natural, Stacy, because today I put my makeup on and you know, did my hair, but normally I am not that way. And it been so bad that my daughter sent me a nice little text the other day with some spray paint for my gray hair because she wanted to show me what I should be doing to make myself look better. So yeah, that was really I was humbling.
Yeah, that's the beauty of wigs is you don't know what color my hair is under this thing.
I do have a halo though, Stacy. I just don't know how to use it. I need to learn.
Oh! I thought you meant this. I was like, I pay extra to get the dark roots.
The
Sasha,
halo.
I go in the other direction.
I
The
can't.
halos are good. It adds length. Yeah.
Thing. But I did have the outfits all planned out. This is one of them. See, guys, it's the bumblebees because I have bees in my collection.
You have to really.
Some of it.
I know. I'm looking. Is it sequins or no? Oh, it's
very nice.
Wow. Cute.
Yeah, that
really cute.
one of them.
Cool.
Some of them haven't arrived yet. We ordered them, but they're not here. And I had considered canceling them, but now I'm just gonna let them come. They're in spring colors, but I'll stick a black turtleneck with them. It'll be fun.
That's a nice thing about North Carolina is
Buy a fall wardrobe
yes.
now.
You unlayer and you're good to go.
Yeah. But you know, it has made me realize that it's not all about looks. And again, that soul searching time of just looking deep inside myself and realizing what my priorities are and what's most important. And, you know, although we have fun planning our wardrobes, the most important thing is we all get there healthy.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. My grandmother, we joke, she's blessedly, she's still hanging in. She's pretty amazing. She's in her 90s. She's now basically moved in with my aunt because she's afraid to go outside. And so there's been this ongoing joke. My aunt gave her like a pot with a spoon so that she could bang it if she needed anything.
You need something?
Well, she, if my aunt's downstairs or whatever. But long story short is she was always into design, always a fashion person, always into hair and makeup. I think it's very much where I get my passion for the arts. And she and I have talked about it, like about sort of being, is it vain? Is it vain to want to dress up? Is that a bad thing, to want to put your face forward or your best face forward? And her advice, or sort of her outlook, which I definitely loved and subscribed to, is, she goes, look, I do it for myself first, but the truth is I do it out of respect also for the people that I'm meeting with and seeing. Like, I care so much about, how I am and how I'm presenting myself and the effort that goes into that, not because I feel like, oh, people are going to judge me, but because it's almost like the way I feel I'm putting my best self into the world. And I don't think that's vain. I think that actually shows respect for the people that you're meeting with, that you cared enough to put in the effort. You cared enough to put yourself together. To me, I think there's nothing wrong. And if you feel better, it's like your interior design, like you said, when you elevate your space with beautiful furnishings, when you invest in the pieces that make you feel really good, when you look at them, they make you happy. That's not being vain about your house. That's not being thoughtless about how you spend your money. That's investing in yourself. That's investing in your home. It's an investment in your own happiness. And I really do believe that what you surround yourself with, whether it's the hair and makeup you choose to put on, or how you put yourself into the universe, or how you put yourself into the world, or the things that you choose to surround yourself with your home, it elevates your energy. It makes you feel like the best version of yourself. And ultimately that leads to living the best life that you can possibly live. I mean, that's my thought process. So I'm not going to apologize about wanting to, look good when I come out to meet everybody.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful place to sort of stop this. I mean, we could probably talk about, Thomas, I know you could talk about fashion forever. And the beautiful, but the benefits of home, really. I mean, what drives us and what inspires us, and the end goal for your clients and the consumers. So Thomas, I know we took a lot of fashion. Is there something that you didn't get to ask that you would love to ask?
Well, maybe one thing, and I've been talking to a lot of people on the retail end, but I'm sure this applies to design as well. You've got these people that are at home all day, every day. And when this lifts, do you feel there's going to be some pent-up demand for, one, refreshing their homes, two, for the products that you're designing or that are coming out in the marketplace, and also for interior design services? Do you think that there's just going to be a boom?
Absolutely, I do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Libby.
No, you go.
Okay, I'll keep it short. Absolutely, I do. I think just even seeing what we're seeing now with these new projects coming forward, that people are wanting to refresh their space. And like Stacy said, and she said, was it your brother-in-law that's been looking at his pillows and he's decided he doesn't like them? I think we're all doing that. We just went and had our landscaper come in and kind of redo some things. It's because we're looking at it every day and we're like, okay, are we going to invest in this? Well, yeah, we're going to invest in this because we look at it every day. And I think people have a whole new appreciation for their environment that they're living in now that they didn't have before.
I agree. And I think another byproduct of everybody being at home, and also not just being at home, but being at home at this time of the year where the weather's kind of been changing, it's a little rainy, so you're inside. So I think one of the first steps for us as designers in any makeover you're going to do, whether it's a one-room refresh or a whole new design of somebody's home, is you got to declutter. You got to clean out. You got to get rid of stuff. And I think the wonderful thing about that is it allows people to have a fresh set of eyes on their existing space that they've already been living in for a while. And so in that respect, I think once you start to clear out, declutter, and open up your space and free it up, you have a fresher view on, yeah, you know what? Maybe let's paint the wall. Let's bring in a new sofa. Let's do some new cushions, whatever it is. So I think that sort of purge that's been happening, I know our garbage man just wants to like kill us, but you know, so I think that is also going to contribute to people being inspired to want to do design in their homes. And also, I think there are a lot of people now that are realizing that they can work with designers, because there are designers that are working at all different budget levels. So it's not just the super high end. You can have a designer come in and help you, you know, on a budget, 1 room, 2 rooms, or a refresh. So I think it's a great time in design, and I think it's important for all of us to keep the messaging out there, everything that is available. So yeah, I think we are going to have a nice lift when all this clears up.
Yeah. We saw it also, I mean, in 2008, if you look at that as any kind of indicator, and I keep arguing back, you know, to the people in my circle, this is not a recession yet, so let's not call it that. I mean, it has not been, you know, 2 quarters of a downturn, which is technically what you would need. So I'm hoping it'll bounce before that. But if we look at 08 and then the climb back out of that, the people who were using interior designers, the sort of to the trade industry, absolutely came back first. You know, it's where the money is, it's people with disposable income, and they were the first to start to open up spending again. So when we were tracking the different verticals that we were designing for and selling in, we saw that much faster than, you know, a traditional retail. And so it's important. It's one of the reasons that we're working with Klausner right now is we have such great relationships with interior designers, and they wanted help developing a product that would speak to the trade. You know, that is not going to hit at a normal retail, you know, Wayfair level. That's not where they're looking to distribute it. It's like I said, it's a bench-made product, and it's something that they want to. And nobody had the foresight to see this pandemic happening, but they saw the trade as such an important specifier base. You know, equal to the brick and mortar stores. When you look at busy interior designers, they're selling a lot of product. You know, they're specifying a lot of product, and you can't ignore it if you're going to be a player in the business. So I absolutely think the interior design community and the projects will, you know, again, a lot of them haven't, it's not that they're gone. It's just like Sasha said, we just can't deliver. Like, we can't hit that milestone because right now we can't get the electricians in to do their piece of it. But the people are not canceling the project. We're just on pause with that milestone. So we're seeing a lot of that too. I think it's going to come back.
I think that, you know, the only obstacle and hurdle with all this is that people may be fearful to spend money during this or after this. And I think that it's up to us designers and retailers to really like, you know, get into consumers' like inner psyche and make people understand that your home is your oasis. On the residential part, your home is your oasis, and that if you surround yourself with the things you love and beautiful furnishings, and if you fix, you know, your wall, if you install new wallpaper, you get a new paint job, you put lighting in, whatever, like in turn, you're going to be happier in your surroundings, and that's going to give yourself a better life. So I think that, you know, retailers really need to put that message out there at this time, and in a way that they need to take this situation and realize that, like, probably home products is going to be the easiest thing to sell in this time of, you know, COVID. And then on the residential standpoint, when places start to reopen, and you're going to want to reopen with like a splash, and you're almost going to want to have like a new look and reinvent yourself in a way. So like, we need to take this opportunity and kind of like capitalize on it in a way that, like, it's time to, you know, put money back into interiors. And I think like a lot of times people will opt to spend, money on a pair of shoes or on jewelry or on a handbag. And they're like, I don't want to buy that armchair because I want to buy that Chanel bag. Well, now it's going to like kind of be the reverse. So like, what is the industry going to do about that?
Mhm. It's exciting. It's exciting. Well, Sasha, Libby, Shayla, Stacy, and Thomas, this has been a pleasure. Thank you for spending this hour plus with us, and love that we connected in this way. And so let's just say goodbye, and we'll see you soon
Yeah.
on Zoom or in flesh.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Great.
So great to see all of your faces.
Yeah.
All right.
Getting the band back together.
Yes.
I know.
Totally.
All
right.
Thanks,
All right, and
everybody.
post your
Take care,
flashback
everybody.
pictures of High Point. I'm going to post my flashback pictures from other High Point markets.
We
Oh,
should,
good.
I got to do that too.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think
All
it's
right.
like High Point memories or something. Let's post under the hashtag.
Nobody wants to hang up. Who's going to hang
I
up?
know. All right.
Okay.
Everyone.
Bye all.
Okay.
Bye.
Goodbye.